Good morning, everybody. Good afternoon. Good evening. Wherever you are, this is Chief O. That is CHIEF. Welcome to Let's Talk About It. This is talking about things that people don't want to talk about. That's why we call it. Wait a minute. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about it. Uh, I want you to please do some favors for me. If you have something to ask me, you have a question, you can call me at 667-298-3433. 667-298-3433. Give a call, ask a question, whatever you would like to ask me about, in reference to the topic. So we will stay on the same page. Don't want everybody going everywhere. So let's talk about it. I also want you to tune into the Metro Conservative Media. You want to see 5 ladies that really talk about issues that are very conservative and very pertinent to the lives of Baltimoreans, Black people everywhere in this world. Tune in to the Metro Conservative Media on Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Listen to these ladies. They're fantastic. You can't believe it. So, today, I'm just going to review a meeting that I went to I think it was last week. Yeah. That meeting was very hard because I met some people that were very deeply involved in community events, things that are happening in the community. Trauma. That's the topic of today. And it is a continuation from the discussion that we had last Thursday with Dr. Gwendolyn Butler and, of course, the head of the Baltimore Trauma Group. This is a group it's a team. It's a Baltimore Trauma Response Team. And what they do is unprecedented and unbelievable. So you would think that there's nobody in the community that is involved in a lot of things that is happening in Baltimore. The killing, the continuous homicide rate that is increasing has caused an awful lot of traumatized people. Now, I want to make sure that everybody understands. I focus on what is happening in the African American community, Black people, if you will. Anything that I say, or even my guests, some of my guests, they can be responsible for some of what they say. But anything that I say in reference to events that are taking place in the African American community is my responsibility. That's mine, because this is my show. And I call it Let's Talk About It, simply because a lot of people don't want to talk about certain things. What I don't mind, I'm here to say let's talk about it. So, the meeting that I went to, but before I get to the meeting, I have just had a trauma family event, trauma in the family myself. In the past 22 days, I have directly seen 2 members of my family and friend who passed away. Not on COVID, not on Delta, not on the third one that I believe CDC is coming up with called the Negro virus. That is the virus that they believe they can send to more of it to Black communities. I call it a Negro. I call it other things too, but right now, for the sake of sanity, we will call it the Negro virus. That's the third one after Delta, after the first virus. The first virus, you can call it the Mario Cuomo virus, with all the lies and all the people's lives that he took. But the Delta one is coming. I don't know where they're going to try to put that. But there's a third one that's designated for the Negro population. You heard what I said. I said it's the Negro population. Anyway, I lost my father-in-law yesterday, about 10 o'clock in New Brunswick, New Jersey. So for those people in New Brunswick, New Jersey, the person that you all know very well who's lived there, you guys in New Jersey, in New Brunswick in particular, you call him Cannonball. Yes, John Cohen, known as Cannonball, has passed on. On July 4th, I lost a very, very, very good friend, Dr. Larry Udoji. And that's for the African-American, the Nigerian community, because people in Kenya and other places, may have their own traumatic events, which they do. But in the Igbo Nigerian community, we've lost an icon, a great man, a well-known man who has nothing but goodness in his heart. And for some odd reason, we lost him, not to COVID, but to cancer. That's another one. But both men passed on from cancer. So to them, let's talk about it, and its staff and community and producers. Wish them, I suppose, Godspeed, and pray that they are in the proper place, namely near where God is. I'm not a very too religious of a person, but I do know that some things, God gives life, God takes life, and somehow God renews life. So all these traumatic events that take place in both personal and everybody else's life, somehow God restores and renews. And, I had a nice renewal yesterday, coming back from New Jersey after seeing Cannonball passed on. Really sad thing, because he's my father-in-law. The guy likes me. How many times do you find a father-in-law that likes his son-in-law? Well, I had one. But on our way coming back, we met in this in renewal of life that I was just talking about seemed to have occurred. Out of anywhere, we stopped off at the gas station on Route 95 South. And as we were preparing to leave, somebody looked into my window with, of course, the mask on his face. If I would, I would have, taken my necessary veteran action. But no, he peeked in and he had all his mask on his face. And Uncle. I looked at him and said, they were calling me Uncle. It was my nephew, his wife, and 2 children. I haven't seen Sonny and Sherry, I suppose, in about 10 years. So how is it possible that God made it possible for me to see them at an unknown location, somewhere on the highway, go in the same direction? Oh, now that's renewal of life. I was so thrilled, happy. We had a lot of hugging and talking, and just, this is just so, it was such a great time. It was just a brief time, for about an hour. We renewed, God renewed us to go on, to move forward. That's about as much as I know about all this goodness of God. I don't know too much about it, but I do know other people that do. So that was my renewal. Little few seconds of that. But let's go to some other quick news going on around the world. Very quick one. And again, I'm focusing on Black people, Africa, Baltimore City, Chicago, Detroit, urban communities where predominantly Black people live. So don't get offended. You can come in and listen. I'll even invite you to say something, ask a question. Send it to me at exactly 667-298-3600. 3433. Send me your question. I don't care if you're Polish. I don't care if you're Irish. It just doesn't matter. But as long as you can stay on the topic. But don't get offended that I'm focusing on black people, because what is happening in the black community affects me and affects my family, because we are black, African Americans, or Africans, and then / Americans, whatever that means. Everybody have their own interpretation. Your opinion counts. I got a few guests on the line. They're coming up soon. Well, the phone is ringing already. Okay, that's good. In Nigeria, some other news. You know, there's this spread of Fulani people. Fulani Islamatized people, the Muslims. They would like to just Islamatize the entire country. So they take their cows. I mean, I'm stopped eating meat. I don't want to eat meat anymore. Send the meat over to China. But they're doing some land grabbing, unnecessary killing of innocent people. They're already spreading themselves so wide that they now have determined that they will like the entire continent of Africa. Not for their Islamatized religion or whatever they call it, but for their cows. So their cows can come to people's land, eat all they want, eat the people's food, and if you say something, they kill you. Well, I think some people know that during World War II, some other people didn't expect that killing does go two ways. So those who are targets try to stay out of the way and reciprocate. I'm a Vietnam veteran. It's just something that comes into my head, and I say it. So that's going to cause war. You heard me. As you black people that are living everywhere in America, you're in North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Mississippi, wherever you are, you just don't understand that there's war coming in Africa, and it's not something that you should just sit back and don't recognize. War, the killing of families, the killing of intelligence, the killing of children is coming to Nigeria. You guys have heard that country, that amalgamated nation called Nigeria. War is coming there. And if you can contact your congressman or your Bidens or anybody else you want to contact to try to stop this war, because it's black lives that are losing. We're losing people. Baltimore City, Chicago, could you believe how many people are getting killed on a simple weekend? You can't go from Friday to Sunday in Chicago without more than 30 people getting killed. That's war. We've got to be able to stop that. In Baltimore, the homicide rate is increasing. My goodness, that is trauma all over, all over. We've got to be able to stop this. We've got to be able to take a step. We've got to be able to do something about it. And that's why this morning show, I'm dedicating it to these men, the men of the Baltimore Trauma Response Team, and what they are doing for the community to stop. The whole idea is to stop, squeeze it, to make sure that it stops. This killing that is taking place in all of the urban cities in Atlanta, Georgia, so it doesn't make any sense. And it's taking place inside our community. So we've got to be the one to make sure that it stops. Too many of our people are in the traumatic states. So look, I'm dedicating it to them, this entire show. So another thing that is taking place in that place again called Nigeria. You guys got to do some studying. Black people in the world have to do some studying. I don't care where you are. Study what's going on in Africa. That's our continent, any way you look at it. Call me at 672-298-3433 or email me to Let's Talk About It with chiefo@gmail.com. Email me. Let's talk about it. The kidnapping in Nigeria of Nnamdi Kanu of the IPOB. This is an organization that is trying to establish a nation for 14 to 17 million people. I mean, you got some nations in Europe that got about 20 people and they got their own nation. But when it comes to somehow the Africa, millions of people. And some of them want to go ahead with their own culture, with their own language, with their own flag, everything that a nation, a sovereign nation has. And they're trying to, oh my God. Some people don't want that to happen. And I don't understand what I just did. I just pushed something and I done lost myself. I done lost my damn mind. That's what I did. Sorry about that, Giovanni. I know you see what I did. All right, so I'm coming back in as best I can. Giovanni probably would catch me. Yes, he did. Oh, what a great guy. What a great guy. You guys keep an eye on Giovanni. Yeah, keep an eye on that young man. That young man is going places and will be doing certain things already. You know, Metro conservative media. You really got to check these ladies out. They're fine. They're pretty. They're intelligent. They got guts. So I mean, sometimes you kind of think when I listen to them, I say, "Woo, they got the manzo," but no, these are highly intelligent, fearless ladies that talk about issues that impacts on the conservative, especially conservative issues. Yeah, don't just kind of sit back and say, No, listen to them. Don't watch the body. The body is fine. Listen to them. Hear what these ladies are talking about on Metro conservative media. Yeah, that's my advice to you. I listen. You ought to. So Nnamdi Kanu, this is a young man who was kidnapped. This is how war starts. And the young man is in London, England, United Kingdom. He's from there. He's a citizen there. And what happened? He gets kidnapped because he went to another African country called Kenya. Why would the Kenyan people take $1 billion to kidnap one black man? One. You need to find out what's going on, folks. If you don't know, call me. I'll tell you. Call me at 667-298-3433. And I'll let you know. Read the newspapers there. Not that they're good newspapers, but listen to what's going on. IPOB. Listen to them and see what is going on. So Africa is, just preparing for massive war. Kenya kidnaps a Nigerian or a British citizen and turn him to Nigeria. They kidnap him, beat him up. This is a leader. This is a Mandela kind of person, a Martin Luther King kind of person. And they Malcolm X. Well, Malcolm wasn't going to take no. So, yet they are abusing him, hurting him, trying to kill him. Justice? Where? Even the judge who's supposed to provide the justice, they threatened her husband, so she got to figure out my family or this guy. So that's another problem. But that kind of shock wave going on is just not good. So these Fulani people are really pushing it under the leadership of another Fulani person called Buhari. Make you mad just to say his name, Buhari. Anyway, when I went to this meeting, I'm going to shift on now because I've taken about 20 minutes of your time. When I went to this meeting with the Baltimore Trauma Response Team, this organization does something that they bring expertise from different areas of Baltimore, different organizations. and I will read to you those names of organizations that are participating in this trauma response team. Really, what does it mean, this response team? The team does something always in full cooperation with city and state governments because of all the traumatic killing. I don't know if Chicago and Detroit and every other states have it, but they should have this kind of team, this organized body of black men and women. This team is they're well connected with the resources for victims. They really take care of what happens to victims. They organize, but in that they just seem to know where and when they are most needed, flexible enough to be there for as long as needed. This is a councilwoman in Baltimore City who made that kind of a statement that this organization, the trauma organization, is doing such an awesome work for the community. So, what do they really provide? Emergency to response to traumatic events. You know, people get killed in Baltimore City. They got a list. They call each other. They got a communication system. They connect. An activity on this street, an activity, I never want to mention any streets because I don't want anything to happen to anybody. And a killing here, a 12-year-old killed, a 10-year-old killed, a stray bullet hits a child, a grandmother sitting in the doggone house cooking, and a bullet comes under the window, you know, and she gets killed. These people have a communication system with the police department in Baltimore City, and they make sure the police, the police department in Baltimore City is doing pretty good. I'm looking forward to bringing the commissioner on this show so we can talk about it. I know politics, and maybe one of these days I'll talk to that young man with the hair. He got more hair on his head than trees got leaves. My goodness. But I don't know if it's a style or something. I get my hair cut. But he's a young man, and he's the mayor. But this organization has a communication link with the police department. They follow up with evaluations and referral services after a traumatic event. They cross-train with the police and mental health. Human services provide support. So it's almost a community intervention when a traumatic event takes place in Baltimore City, because I'm focusing right now on Baltimore City. So the Baltimore Trauma Response Team, if you get a chance to really call them and talk to them, contacting Reverend Dr. Andrew H. Humphrey. He was on the show last week. His number is just in case you want it, 418. If you don't need it, don't call him because he is so focused on getting some kind of community and help services for people who engage or who encounter traumatic events. 418-8898, phone 443-418-8898. Doctor, let's get around there. He's kind of sticky about his name. Reverend Dr. Andre H. Humphrey. Nice guy. He was on the show last week. Check him out. You can check out Let's Talk About It from last Thursday, and you'll see this man's view. He is hardcore. He is very much invested in the community, and he has a group of people that he is working with, and they are really a very strong team of people. And the organization that like Daniel White Jr., not WHITE, but WHYTE, that kind of white. from the national, I think it's called the Addictive National. And if I did something wrong, that society, if you just make sure that you call me at, what's my number again? 667 298 3433. If I pronounce it wrong, call me. Ain't no shame in my game. It shouldn't be no shame in yours. So they have so many people that are working with them. Dr. Gwen Butler. Oh my goodness, what a wonderful lady. And then you have Dr. Hall. Dr. Hall, or Hale, is a PhD from Johns Hopkins. He was there to tell people about trauma and what to do when it occurs. Um, then there's something called Tudor Holistic. I get the entire traumatic events and, they tutor you. Um, I wish that you can call them because I like to call them. But they got a 703 number, 677 Yana, that is YANA, Pomerantz. Okay, go figure that one out. Or call her. It's better for you to call her, and she'll tell you how to pronounce her name. 703 677 5386. Yona. I like the Yona part. For the other side, I don't know. But it's all the people in that Baltimore trauma response team. Arthur Chambers. He's the deputy chief. These guys literally walk around in uniforms. Arthur is a deputy chief. He's of this Baltimore trauma response team. He's at 443-699-3162. That is 443-699-3162. Name is Arthur Chambers. Apostle, this is Apostle Clarence M. Hooper, Sr. He's also a Baltimore Trauma Response Team member. He's also a Deputy Chief for Operation and Training. We're going to go through that training process since we have a little bit more time, thank God. But he's also a very strong man who cares very deeply about what is going on in the Baltimore community. And then the National Students Athletic Society. Now, the National Student Athletic Society. I met him. That's the Daniel White guy I was talking about. My goodness, he's the president and founder. I wish that he would know how to come in. He might be online with us. I'm not sure. Because he is the one that gets young men involved in athleticism so that they don't get tangled up into all the other kind of things that causes trauma. So that's very nice of him to be with us. Now, I've got another guy here from South Carolina. I welcome him. You got to watch out for this guy because I talked to him before, and I would like to know what he thinks of trauma. That's the topic. He has his own name, and sometimes, but all along we've been calling him Bummer for a long time. He's Bummer to the family. Welcome aboard to Let's Talk About It, Bummer. Are you there with us? Are you there? You can speak. Good morning. Good morning, Bummer.
Yeah,
are you there?
I was listening to that. Yeah, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay.
Good morning.
Good morning, then. Yeah, good morning. I was listening to. That's very interesting what you're talking about. I was interested in listening to it and the topic trauma. we all live through that though, don't we? That's an everyday event, trauma. I mean, getting up in the morning. I mean, paying bills too. What do you think there? It's the old chief. You still
Well,
there?
I'm listening for your views on trauma.
Oh, my views on trauma. I mean,
Yeah.
That's the part of life. I mean, I understand, like you say, you know, in the black community, we all, you know, like you say, Chicago, Baltimore, New Jersey, hey, South Carolina, where I'm at. There, you know, I think if this right here, if you could get out to more people, I think people need to listen to this. But, I mean, the topic right there, I like the topic, and like you say, it's mainly for black people, because you know we experience trauma every day.
And let me just say something to my audience, Bowman. This man is driving an 18-wheeler truck. 18-wheeler truck, and he is on Let's Talk About It with Chief O. Can you believe that? In South Carolina, I guess you can't stand still too long, you know, so you can be like in a studio like I am in. An 18-wheeler truck, and he is involved in talking about trauma. Go ahead, Bummer. Have you ever had any traumatic events in your life?
Hey, well, man. Well, if you want to say when my dad, my brother died, I take that to be a traumatic event. And then I have some other personal ones that, you know, I don't want to really talk about. But yeah, I have experienced trauma. I'm glad I experienced it because it made me who I am today.
How do you overcome it?
Oh, it's a mind thing. And then it's mental and physical. You have to want to do it. It's like, you know, what back in the days when I was coming up, we always had this saying, mind over matter. So you really have to have the mind set, and then some trauma takes physical to get over it too. But I always had this thought in mind coming up. If I wasn't born with it, I didn't need it. So, for example, the subject, but this is like saying, how do you get over it? Trauma. I just stopped. So, you know, to get through things in life, you have to have a strong mind. And then you have to be physically too fit in some cases. But I'm glad I have the mind that, you know, that I have, that I can get over it and make it through. Because sometimes some traumas, people don't make it through it.
Does having faith help reduce the re-emergence of trauma?
Well, you know, it's good to have faith now to believe. Yeah, I'm gonna say that. Yeah, you need that, and you need that. You have to have something to lean on, and faith is one of them, and that's what we all brought up on most of. I would think to believe in what we can't see, and so yeah, I agree that you have to have some type of faith. So
Do
yeah,
do
I think you have to have faith. And
you ever have
I didn't hear
flashbacks
you.
on? Have you ever had flashbacks on some traumatic events in your life?
Yes, I think about it a whole lot when I used to run in the streets. Yes, I think about it. Sometimes I say, "Wow, why am I still here?" Yes, I have had pistols, shotguns, put to my back, to my head, and yeah, I think about them days. Sometimes it give me the chills because I be like, "Wow, I made it through that."
What would you say to people who are experiencing trauma every day, based on your own experience? What would you say to them? How would you advise them to handle it?
Whatever you're going through, just keep holding on. And every day, it don't rain every day, but some days you might get the thunder. Some days you might get the lightning. But just look for that little day that sun peep out that cloud. That give you enough faith to hold on for the next day. Eventually, life is sort of like, the weather. We got the seasons, and some days it rains, some days it's pours, some days it's sunny, some days you get hurricanes, tornadoes, all type. So just hold on. I mean, you just go through it. It's a part of life. I just say
So
just hold on. It,
you're saying to people, don't hold on, don't you lose your sense of life,
yes.
because it's going to be difficult to
Yeah,
be able to sustain.
we all gonna go. We all going through something, even though we don't even show it. Everybody's going through something. So we all have to put on this mask every day. Um, it might be something small, might be something big, but we all go through something, and you just have to hold on. We don't. It's a part of life, and what you got to do is you dig till you get to it, or you climb till you get to the top.
Do you really get through trauma? Is it possible to really get over trauma? I mean, do you see that some people might have difficulty concentrating? They may have frequent scanning. They may have difficulty sleeping. They may have a loss of interest in activities. Do you really, with all those things that come along with trauma, do you really think that it's possible to gradually overcome it?
Yes, gradually. Yes. Sometimes it takes some people longer, and then I'm on the fence. Let me take that back. Sometimes some people don't get over it. It all depends on what the situation really is that they're going through. Some people don't get over it. Some people actually lose their mind. But like I said, it all comes down to having a strong mind. Uh, how to get a strong mind? That means you just keep getting up every time you fall, like you riding a bicycle trying to learn. You fall. If you don't get back on it, you ain't gonna never learn how to ride it. So
Now, some people that are listening, and this is global because this is YouTube worldwide. People are listening and pretty much watching you handling an 18-wheel truck. I mean, and talking about trauma on Let's Talk About It. I think if anybody would like to ask Bummer a question, you can call him. Call us right now at 667 298 3433. You know, ask this man who is out there in the world transporting goods on an 18-wheeler, not at home, not, relaxed, literally moving the world, moving goods and services. You have a question to ask? Go ahead. Uh, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it because this is exactly what we need to do. Talk about the issues. And I appreciate this. We call him Bummer. So that's what he wants to be called. We're going to call him Bummer. That's Bummer. A great guy. Look, 18-wheeler. How many of you can drive an 18-wheeler truck? And yet at the same time, have your complete sense of issues that are critical to the community, to Black people. This is the kind of life that we live. So it's not that everybody in every community don't have problems, don't have issues. I've had people that were in the kitchen cooking, fixing meals for the family, and coming on, let's talk about it. To have a brother driving a 18-wheeler, that's a new one for us. So I tell you, this is Chief O. Let's talk about it. I welcome Bummer.
yes.
Bummer. Yeah. Somebody told me that your own mom is in the hospital. I was informed that your mom was in the hospital. How are you? And at the same time doing what you're doing.
You broke up on the question.
All right. I was told that your own mother is in the hospital or intensive care unit or in some convalescent home. How do you handle, and I know that could be very traumatic to you, because I was also told that you visit her a lot. How do you handle that and do the work that you're doing?
Wow. That now, bringing that up right there, that's I call it, that's trauma. Trauma is a good word for it. I just call it pressure. Sometimes I can't deal with it. I'm just being honest. I'm human. Sometimes it gets to me. I start wanting to ask questions like, wow, I have other siblings. And I ask questions. And I'm the male. I have sisters, and everything was dropped pretty much on me, which I'm the closest here with my mother. I understand that, but yeah, that's the situation right there. That's pretty much the trauma of my life right there, and I consider it to be pretty much pressure. It's a lot of pressure. I actually this week right here alone, I've been my anxiety has been. I've been noticing it. Well, I haven't been noticing it. Yesterday, I I was out on I-95. I had an anxiety attack, because lately I've been just thinking about the situation. I have to handle this right here for her. This right here with the people, the banks. It's all that, and and then I have my own life that I have to try to keep straight because I'm the only one working in my household now. My wife is not working, uh, so everything that you know got to be done now is on my income. So that right there is like a that's the, if you want to call that, I'm gonna say that's trauma because I used to say pressure. There's a lot of pressure on me. And I call the pressure is it mainly becomes to be stress. And now that the new word trauma, I would take the stress and call it trauma. Uh, it is. It's hard, but I just keep getting up. Like I say, it's more of my mind. It it assumes my mind. It because I start thinking about it more, and then I have to go to sort of like I call it a happy place. I start thinking of something that I like to do or something that would, you know, that brings sunshine or whatever. If you understand what I'm trying to say. But yeah, it's pressure. Trying to deal. I get the phone call. Your brother fell out the chair. I'm somewhere in North Carolina and she's in South Carolina. There's nothing I could do. I can't just snap my fingers and appear there. Yeah, it's a lot. Everything falls on me. And like I said, I have life. I have problems. I have bills. I have, it's just stuff that I got to do for myself on top of trying to make sure my mom's is straight. And sometimes I think I just don't do enough. If I decide not to go visit one week, I get to now I beat myself up for the guiltiness. Out of 6 years my mother has been there, I have probably missed going to see her. I'll say 5 times, but I don't even think I missed 5 times. Um, it's just that I feel if I don't go there, I feel bad. So I make sure I'm there for my mother. But it is a lot of that's pressure, trauma, stress. It's all, but stress, pressure, I would consider the new word. It is sort of trauma.
Well, Bum, I really thank you very much for taking a bit of a time out of your continuous busy world. It's not something that you stop and talk about. It's just something that you're doing. I'd like to thank you very much. You're an interesting guest. Very, very truthful and honest in what you're going about. And that's exactly what we need to do. I thank you so much, Bummer. Have a good day.
Appreciate
But
it.
I'm going to continue to end the show. Thank you very
I
much. And God
appreciate it.
and watch you and call back later if you want.
All right. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Folks, there's a lot of people that need help, and they do need help. Even churches are now very much involved. Uh, like there's a church that is called Jim Hagler Jr. Wade Through Life. Wade Through Life. There's other churches. Black churches are opening up, and I'm very happy to see that. I just want, hopefully, that you will take advantage of what the church is trying to do. We got no other resort but the family. My producer always says, It's always about the family and what the church can do. You have to resort back to the family. The trauma that happened, you got to go back to the family. Sit down, embrace, shed tears, talk about it. Trauma is something that is so continuous. It's an irritating part of human being. It's an irritating part of human life. We got to go back to the church. And the church is beginning to open. And I'm happy to hear that because I'm inviting some of them. And so they can tell us why in the world did they close the church down. Of all the places that they should have never closed down, McDonald's didn't close down. You heard me. The liquor store didn't close down. There was a lot of places that closed down, but the church closed down. Why? And I'm reaching out to the church, every church. But you know these pastors, they got social statuses. So I'm going to be reaching out to the lower status church pastors and the higher status post, social status pastor to come on. Let's talk about it and tell us and talk about it. What's going on? What's happening? This week we focused on the reevaluation of the meeting that I went to. With some, Dr. Humphrey, Reverend Dr. Humphrey, and his ladies, and all the people that are associated with his organization, with those people that, seem like they're not doing anything, but if you see them in the street, these are hardworking people. The Baltimore Trauma Response Team. We've got to keep an eye on what's going on in the community. If you get into a traumatic issue, call them. Contact 443-418-8898. 443-418-8898. Did you get that? I want to know. Did you get it? Shake your head. Just, yes, you got it. Oh, you missed it? Okay, I'm going to try it again. The Baltimore Trauma Response Team. Great group of men and women that'll be there to talk with you, help you, give you all the necessary services that you need in order to respond to the traumatic event that you've gone through or that you will be going through. Call them 443-418. I can remember this myself. 8898. Call them. Don't hesitate. You cannot live with the trauma, with traumatic event that takes place. You can't live by yourself with the reactions of the trauma. Things that happen after Junior just got killed, or Bobby's over there in a gang and he just lost his life most likely over some stupid things. And we'll be looking forward to talking to some of these so-called gang members. I'm looking very deeply we're looking for the right people, because they are the ones that causes trauma. I'm going to say this again. 443. You get that? 418. I know you got it. Don't get mad because I'm saying it over and over and over and over again. No, don't get mad at me. Because some of us folks just don't catch it the first time. So I'm throwing back at you. The last four numbers, 8898. And if I may, that's the Baltimore Trauma Response Team. You know, for over 23 years, under that leadership of Andre H. Humphrey, that Baltimore Response Team have been reaching out. It's an outreach ministry, helping children, helping families, helping communities that have witnessed violence and other traumatic events. They have witnessed violence and other traumatic events. Families. Bobby's little sister, she saw it. All these people that have been victims of violence, somebody saw it. The Baltimore Trauma Response Team comes to help. They provide immediate and follow-up trauma responses, as well as evaluation, and get this, referral services. Baltimore City does have some referral services, you know, that will help you out. Don't sit there and try to soak it in all by yourself. It ain't gonna work. Again, there's a councilwoman at the 14th district who made the statement that this team, always in full cooperation with city and state agencies, this team, the trauma response team, is well connected with resources for those who have suffered, who are those who we call the victims. So they are organized. They just seem to know where and when they are most needed. They're very flexible, enough to be there for as long as you need them. This is what the Baltimore Trauma Response Team does. This is an issue and a show that is, and I'll tell you something, you know, if you make a repeated mistake, it's no longer just a mistake, it's a decision. So do yourself a favor. Don't repeat a mistake. Because you repeat a mistake, it's a decision. And it could be a decision that is very traumatic. Do us all a favor. Stop some of the violence. You've got to be able to do it. This is Chief O of Let's Talk About It. I'll be inviting you. Yes, I'll be inviting you. And let's talk about it. But you've got to do one thing for me. Stay alive. Stay alive. I can't talk to you if you ain't here. No. Until the next time, this is Chief O of Let's Talk About It. Don't forget what I said to you earlier. Metro Conservative Media. Listen to these young ladies. They got something to say. I love them all. I mean, you should too. Until the next time, my honorable producer, God bless you. You're a wonderful, wonderful, awesome human being. Lord have mercy, we're glad to have you. Until the next time, this is Chief O. God bless you. Come back to Let's Talk About It.